and we posted on a wall real life missing kids. And this is also part of the movie too.
Right.
So we're posting the real life missing kids, and the last little girl that was posted on the wall, and we have this filmed, a few days later was found.
Literally at the tail end of COVID, and everybody, just how much the film industry has changed from distribution to just, there's very few businesses I know that has changed as much as Hollywood in the past few years. So I was like, okay, I need to start getting a pulpit and explaining, because I'm very blessed to have a lot of people that I know in the film world and dealing with actors literally around the globe and production. And I said, all right, I need to, the first thing I looked at myself in the mirror is like, does the world really need another podcast? And I was like, for sure it doesn't. It doesn't, but that's not going to stop me.
You could be the next Joe Rogan.
No, that spot's filled, and he's super talented. I'm a big fan of Joe.
There's always room for more.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. I thought, he covers such a variety of things, and a lot of people do. I was like, let me at least get a pulpit going of the industry currently today, because there's a lot of stuff that you'll find on Instagram or people make comments, but this industry is as big as it is. There's very few answers out there, and everybody's got an opinion. There's more opinions than there are mouths. And I know that about people have multiple opinions, but the reality is, what I like to do is I like to go on facts, what's actually going on in the industry. So I get people who are actually doing things and producing, and that's actually a perfect segue for me to now start asking you all about the questions. But I'm going to turn to everybody and say, welcome back to another podcast. I am blessed to be here with a friend and someone who I think you're all going to really learn a lot about, because it shows that you can get into Hollywood, movie, acting, anytime in your life and career and have success. You don't have to do the traditional Hollywood route. That being said, I'm here with Patricia, and before I start getting into all the details, I think it's best if you tell everybody about, or why don't you tell me everything about yourself and then the moment you chose to get into this industry.
I'm actually a real estate entrepreneur, and the last thing I thought I'd be doing is making movies. But I'm a big believer in we are here for a purpose, and let's make this world better. And we were actually voted Miami's favorite luxury real estate company. And 2 weeks ago, the Miami Herald just released the information for the Miami-Dade favorites. And I have to say I'm greatly appreciative and
It's a very
honored.
big award. Yeah, that's especially Miami and the entire real estate. That's a huge accolade to yourself.
Thank you. And it's not that we are the highest grossing real estate company. It's not that we are the biggest real estate company. But I think we've showed over the past 30 years that we really, really care about the community. And I've always been very involved. My company's always been very involved in Easter seals, fighting cancer, whatever we can combat to make a difference, mental health. And in the past 5 years, something that's come to my attention that really, really needed our help was the global crime of human trafficking. And it's gotten to the point that it's really, really, really a horrible problem. I mean, it's something that, you have daughters.
Oh, I have a daughter and a son.
Okay,
yes,
daughter and a son.
It seems like I have a lot of daughters because she has so many friends, and I think I'm their other dad, if you will. Because being in the industry, I'm very blessed to have a lot of young girls around. That sounds a lot of teenage. My daughter's friends. So yes, it's I definitely have become aware of it myself.
So I've been passionate about helping in this arena, whatever I can do. And it got to a point where I guess I got my name out in the arena of what we're doing. and a very talented director, George Montero, award-winning director. He came up with the idea of the way to really bring awareness to the masses, as you know, is media. And the way to reach millions of people is this podcast, movies, entertainment. That's the way you change a culture. So we created a movie, a thriller, nonfiction. I mean, actually fictional, and it's to bring awareness. It's entertaining, a little bit of a comedy, a little sadness, inspirational, a little bit of everything. It really works. And we came up with this idea, let's create a movie that teenagers will watch, grandmas will watch, not an intense City of Dreams type of movie where which is a great movie. It's just a little too intense for some people. My mother couldn't watch the whole thing.
Right. There's some stuff that it's just,
Right.
it's tough. It's
So
tough to face that reality.
how can we bring awareness and also entertain people at the same time that they're going to want to watch? And that's what we created. And the way we did this is my real estate agents were involved, people in the community. We had homes donated to us, we had locations set up for us at no charge. Everyone did their bit to come together. And when we did this, we in no way ever thought this would happen, but we put it out to the film festivals and it won over 35 official selections, nominations, and awards. And we were like, wow, we did that.
That's fantastic.
So it was welcomed with open arms. We were honored at the Cannes Film Festival and different locations and got different awards and from Cannes also. And we were just totally blown away. So we said, here we brought a community together to come together to make a difference, and why not create a feature film? So that's where we are coming next. We have filmed 70% of the feature, and we are working on pre-production and finishing the rest in February of this 2025.
Wow, that is super ambitious. I can tell you that I have been fortunate to be behind scenes, and
Yes, thank you for your help.
No, it's always an honor to be part of something that's well. First off, to be on set any day is a great day. You love the industry, and I'm sure now that you're in it, very deep in the bit from real estate to now,
I still do real estate.
Yeah,
this is because I do this because it's a cause that I'm passionate about and I care. Obviously, real estate is our number one, source of income.
Right.
But it allows us to also give back to the community and make a difference. So, thank you to our real estate company.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And that's a great point. How did you? Because a lot of people are probably sitting there going, I could never do it. Right. Obviously, you have you saw a need or a passion, and you said, how do we get the word out there? And what was that? Go back, if you can, go back to that moment when you're like, I'm gonna make a movie. I'm gonna make a show. Like, give me that kind of that nucleus of what went through your mind.
I didn't think of it as we're making a movie. I thought a bit of it as we're taking advantage of the media to bring out a message. And just one thing led to another, and before you know it, it's a movie. And it involved a community, meaning local restaurants, different cities were involved. I think you were there when we did the activation in South Beach on Fifth Street.
That was super ambitious.
So,
that was to shut down South Beach and to shut down the Strip and all the police and everything. That is what, we're talking multi-$100 million movies do. So when I saw that, I went, oh my gosh, young lady, you are really going in on it. The Rolls Royce, everybody. I'm like, okay, someone is not playing around. So,
but we had thousands of people involved. That was community coming together to help. And one of the things I wanted to talk about today was January
Yes.
is Bring Awareness to Human Trafficking Month.
Which is what the whole nucleus of the movie's about. Or
Yes.
the show, everything, which I want you to get into.
Yes, yes. And it's a $200 billion industry. It's a crime that criminals have figured out. Well, I can sell a drug once, but I can sell a human body over and over and over. So it's much more profitable
Wow.
than selling any drug. And that's how it got so huge.
Wow. So let's go back to that moment, because obviously it drove you, it was so compelling to you that you're like, I want to make this movie, or I want to get this message out there. How did you find out about it? What was your kind of the epiphany where you went, oh, I need to do this?
I've met so many people in different human trafficking groups, foundations, Quest to Freedom. We started our own also, Loving Arms. And I personally know people who have been trafficked. There are very few survivors. I mean, they were lucky. Usually 1% survives. It's a
Wow.
very, very low percentage of the
That's horrific.
victims that
Yeah.
actually survive. And the reason is that the traffickers go after, usually, there are different forms of trafficking,
Right.
but usually they go after the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, and the lifespan of that child is usually about 7 years. And it's not because they just
Oh my
outright kill the child. What happens is they drug the children. So, and the reason they drug the children is to make them easier to handle. And so what happens if you drug someone every day? They become a drug addict.
Right.
And they eventually overdose on their own, overdose accidentally, die because of abuse, malnutrition. There's so many different reasons. And so that's why most of the children are never found. There are 2 million children every year that are being trafficked.
Now, is it from a standpoint of, you started this journey about 5 years ago?
5 years getting into the arena of how do we combat this
Right.
number one crime in the world.
Right. And over 5 years, the reason I ask is, I think we were talking earlier about the Sound of Freedom, and there's so much awareness, but is it making a difference at all?
You were there on the South of Fifth activation.
Right.
And part of that is, I don't know if you were there for the candlelight vigil, which is where we brought, a group of people together, and we posted on a wall real life missing kids. And this is also part of the movie too.
Right.
So we're posting the real life missing kids, and the last little girl that was posted on the wall, and we have this filmed, a few days later was found. And I'm telling the story to friends as I'm a few days later, because I was so blown away. Like, did we help this?
Right.
Did we do this? Do we have a part in this? And I'm getting into an Uber with my friends, and all of a sudden, I hear the song that we played during the candlelight vigil. And it's such a unique song.
Right.
And I was like, I said to the Uber driver, did you just put this version on? And because it was the long version. And he kind of looked at me. And the people I was with said, no, that was on the minute we walked into the Uber. And I was in such shock.
Wow.
Because I almost felt, as I was telling the story,
Right.
that the song came on, it really felt as if God was saying, you guys are on the right path, keep going, because if you only save just one child, which I feel that we've saved more than that already,
Right.
we're on the right track. So, yes, I do believe it makes a difference. And also, if you bring awareness to the schools, to the public, there's also hand signals. So, if a child is in back of a car
Right.
and can't speak, but maybe is looking out the window to another car, they can go like this and put their thumb like this and close their hand and open it.
So that is a
That
signal.
I'm being trafficked. So if someone notices, hopefully, or at a gas station, they can immediately, call the police or 911 and take note of the tag, hopefully.
Right.
So we're trying to bring, hand signals, education, awareness to doctors, teachers, social workers to be more aware. And this is not, this is probably obviously happening for years and years, but I
Right.
think it's now the awareness that people are taking note and making
And
a
that's what
difference.
makes it interesting. So it's
That's what makes a difference.
yeah, no, I think, well, obviously getting the word out there, getting people conscious of it, even just like hand signals. I think it's, when just in life, and I know there's a formal name for it, but it's, when you're looking, you're going to go out and you're looking for red cars, all you do is start seeing red cars,
Right,
and it's,
right.
there's a name for this, and somebody will comment below on what it is, but what's interesting, like you said, is if it's in the back of our minds that we know that it's an epidemic problem in our society, and it's not one that is obvious, you're driving, you're busy running around your day. It's
Hmm.
hard to notice. I mean, you can kind of see if somebody's robbing a bank, you kind of know what's going on, but somebody, if they're being trafficked, it's much more subtle than that, and I think that's a challenge.
It is a challenge, and there is a law that restaurants and bathrooms are supposed to create posters with information, and it's not really greatly
Yeah, I
enforced.
was going to say that. Okay.
I've noticed that more in the airports. Now they're starting to do it more and more in the
And
bathrooms.
what are the posters about?
If you're being trafficked, if you're
Oh,
a
I've seen this.
victim,
Oh, okay.
if you do
Like a
this,
hotline.
call this,
Got it.
more and more, again, to bring awareness. And if more restaurants did it, if more people, more businesses, that would also help. Because you have to remember, these trafficked children usually don't know what to do.
Right.
So why not help them and get the information out there? Maybe put the hand signals
Right.
on
Yeah.
the notices on the doors. So
No, that makes a
would
lot of
be-
sense. Is that now your show? Let's go to Sisters of Vengeance, which is how many more? 30
So far over 35,
over 35.
which blew us
awards.
away. We
That is
never.
no, that's incredible.
in,
That's
in fact, we were
your
at
first film,
yes, in
right?
the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival, and short film. We're
Right.
working on the feature now, and we got Best Audience Award in the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival because you could really see the audience get into it, and in the funny parts or in the sad parts,
Right.
or the thriller parts, the reactions of the audience was unbelievable.
That's magic. You get emotionally charged because it's true. You'll see it in movies where sometimes people will the critics will slam the movie, but the audience loves the movie or people love it. And I think that there's a lot of time there's a disconnect especially when we live in our bubble in the filmmaking world, and we approach it whether it's got to be the best script, or it's got to be shot the best, or it's got to be the this, and that's because I always say if you're great with a hammer, everything looks like a nail, but if there's a screw in the wall and you use a hammer, you're going to get really wrong results. And so that's why I think in the entertainment world there's so much overcomplication, where going back to what you just said, here's a great story. Here's something that people are going to gravitate to and have an emotional impact. So tell me what that was like for you, because
Well, we're working with a software company. I think the name is AI Lago. It's an artificial intelligence software. And it actually gave us, I think, a 96% emotion score.
Really?
So it
So you ran the film through that. You're saying the
the
short,
script
the script.
for the feature,
Okay.
and it shows you all the levels of reaction and emotion, and we hit a
Yeah,
incredible
that's
score.
that's
Of course, that's to George Montero, our wonderful script writer, who's very talented, a true genius. So thank you, George.
yes.
But it's interesting how AI is coming into movies now
Oh yes.
and actually helping indie filmmakers with scripts, with what they need, the direction they should go, and they even have AI focus groups. So they created focus groups for all age ranges, and it can tell you, okay, this movie will attract
So explain that. So you could create on your own focus group, and is that
with
what you start?
AI.
So you ran the script through.
Yes, yes. So we are currently working with them, and they've been very helpful, and they can help you with, so many, how many theaters you should be in, and how much P&A, print and ads, that each theater would require, and what countries would be most attracted to your particular kind of movie. So yes, AI is now in the film world, and
Oh
it's
yes.
been wonderful for so many different fields, but it's now huge for indie filmmakers, making it easy for them to get the answers that would have been unaffordable to
Oh
get.
yes. Oh yes. Now, with that said, tell me a little bit about your filmmaking journey. And then we'll go. Then I want to switch back into it. The filmmaking journey is, yeah, kind of what I was saying. 5 years ago, you found out about this, and you said we need to create awareness. And how did it all happen? Give me the story to winning all these awards.
Okay, it's almost, I would say, with a little help from God and a little faith, because every time we needed a location or an actor, or that person would just magically somehow appear, or someone would, we needed help that time and you appeared, So it's really been like that it's just been, I'm not saying easy. We've realized how filming can be very challenging, where you're given a donated location and you only have it for a certain number of hours, and then it starts raining.
Oh my gosh.
Or, something breaks down, or, so we've definitely had our challenges, but we can laugh about it
I
later.
was just gonna say your outlook is so positive, and I love it because I remember talking to George, and he was like, "We've got the whole beach shut down, and we're doing all this," and he had it all organized, and you guys pulled permits. I mean, you did it all right, and then all of a sudden, the city finds out, oh, we had the marathon, and you had to cancel everybody who was showing. I know, I could see it in your eyes.
Because you know how big a production that was and how many people involved, and to change the date was.
And that's what people I think don't understand, that it's not the weather, the just there's a million things.
So many little things, so much involved, and
Yeah.
But it's really, for us, has just the public, the community. I have to say thank you, because everyone has come, volunteered right away with a helping hand. Human trafficking groups, all sorts of, women empowerment groups have come together and said, how can we help?
That's amazing, and that's, I guess, that's a testament to you and creating the message out there. And along that journey, I have to ask you, what's been your biggest thing you found that was as a surprise? So you went into it, you go, we're going to create awareness. Clearly you're doing that. You're winning there, right? And I know more is to come. What has been the one thing that you could share with people and be like, wow, I did not see that coming?
I didn't see us making a soundtrack, creating music. So now here we're in the movie industry, and now we're in the music industry. So we created our very first song for our soundtrack, which is called Mother's Day. And the reason it's called Mother's Day is because moms are the real fighters They're the ones that are, fighting for every child and to find that child. And I think, moms need more than one day. Mothers need to be honored every day, not just on Mother's Day. So we have a community of moms that came together, and we decided to film this and shoot this at sunrise and to meet at 5:30 in the morning to do this.
Wow.
And all of a sudden the panic set in, like on Ocean Drive, and we did this at Margaret Pace Park in Edgewater. And the panic set in at 5:30 in the morning. I look at Georgia and I'm like, Georgia's going to show up.
That happens. That happens.
5:30 in the morning.
Right, yeah.
And everybody showed up, ready to go, dressed, hair, makeup ready to sing, and we created our song.
That's
And
fabulous.
it's finally finished, so we're going to release it on Spotify in first or second week of January to bring awareness to human trafficking.
Well, we'll link it below. For everybody who's watching, we'll be able to link this.
Yes. And I have to say, everyone who's heard it, it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And it's bringing all types of, women from all over the world, different languages and different voices, from, your average singer to your professional singer, and just everybody coming together. And it really sounds incredible.
I'm so excited
it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And so we're ready to make that soundtrack, and that's what surprised me. I didn't see us getting into the music industry.
Right. You didn't see that one coming.
No, but it's for a great cause.
Wired. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, there it is right there. Is that it in the middle right there in the screen? It's
yes.
Yes. Oh, I remember. I actually I could start seeing some. There's the scene we were just talking about.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember that.
Exactly. Yes.
Very neat.
So many talented people come together, from dancers to singers and choirs, and it's really just made the movie special.
So looking back now, because everybody thinks it's about winning the awards. I think for somebody like you, there's been some.
We didn't expect to win any awards, so it wasn't even for winning awards.
Right.
That was just extra.
What's been the satisfaction for you? I can see it in your eyes that you're proud of it, and you should be. You should be very proud.
Anyone, if it's your passion to, whatever it is, your goal to cure cancer or whatever it is, I'm in real estate, and I've done some big deals. Sold Hulk Hogan's house. I sold, Michael Bay, who was the director of Home. I worked with Michael Jackson. But yes, I've done big deals. But I think in the end, when you're, at your funeral or, are people really going to remember the deals and the transactions you did? But I think what they will remember is how you touched the community and the lives you saved and the people you helped. So to me, that's real success. And if I can do that, to me, that's winning. That's winning in life.
It really is. And that's brilliant. That's beautiful.
That will make me peacefully die.
It's fun. It's interesting you say that, because it's that same kind of narrative I say, and a lot of being kind of a director and working with actors, I go, and because sometimes everybody gets caught up in the words, and I always say it's how somebody makes you feel, not what they say.
Exactly.
And I'll always remember how you made me feel, way past what I'll ever remember what you said to me, or, obviously in context. And I think that's so true about just life. What you're saying is leave an impact that makes people remember you in this positive, that you were a light into the community, and you sure have been, especially with the nature. Okay, so we could go on and on, but let me ask you, the movie and the writing and the script and the short and everything, where does it stand today? Where are you at with the?
We are 70% filmed, and we're in production now to start filming again.
Okay.
And we're still casting, and we have certain roles that we'd like to bring, certain people that we have in mind. For instance, there's a role of the criminal attorney, and we would love to talk to Eric Roberts about that role. We think he'd be perfect for it.
Okay.
So we have a few people in mind.
You're trying to reach out to
for the really good lead or impactful roles.
Right.
And that's what we're working on.
You know, as a beginning filmmaker, if I may say that, when attaching a name, they call it bankability in the industry, how bankable somebody is. And I think I can argue both sides of that coin, right?
Right.
Because I've seen a lot of great actors who have had parts that are, so I think an actor, if they see what this is about and they understand where you're coming from, they will want to be involved. They would want to be involved.
Well, we have a lot of influencers and comedians that have also reached out because, remember, it's a dark comedy thriller. It's not one of those.
I love the dark comedy angle of talking about it.
Right. We even had a dog that reached out, a famous influencer dog that's called Jaja. A gorgeous yellow Pomeranian. I'm sure you've
Jaja, that's great.
Seen her on Instagram, but she has a role.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
In the movie. So
wherever mine is, he's sleeping right now. See, that's the problem. He's not a working dog.
So we are casting. So if anyone wants to be involved as a singer, that's an actor, or just has a passion, or would like to make a donation and help out, our website, you have it.
Right, we're here right now.
Put it up.
Sisters, we'll make sure it goes up there, sistersofvengeance.com.
Right, and we definitely want all the help we can get. We're not turning anyone away. We can definitely use.
And it's help. Right here. You have phone, email, Facebook, that anybody can reach out to you. Okay?
And as George says, it's not just about making a movies, or we're looking to create a movement.
Right.
And using media to do that. And
now you obviously you did the short. You've won all these awards. You're an actress in it. How is that going for you? How are you feeling?
Everyone seems to think I did well. So.
Well, that's good that you're being. I
did win 2 Best Actress awards also. So.
Right. That's why I wanted. Yes. So that's coming from real estate. Jumping into this there's people that. They never get to there, so I have to commend you. That's why I wanted to have you on, because knowing your story will motivate and inspire other people. Because yes, this cause is critical. There's a lot of other great causes that other people could write about that they could motivate and follow your footsteps. Very fortunate to have, I believe, would you call Victor your consultant? The other Vic, I go by Vic. He's Victor.
From Quest of Freedom.
Yes,
he's one of our Homeland Security former. Human trafficking, he worked in that arena for years.
Right.
So yes, he is a consultant with us.
Yeah, super knowledgeable, wonderful guy. I had him here on the podcast.
Yes, and Katina Hernandez, we have quite a few.
That's great.
So yes, they've all been very, very helpful.
So you have, which is great, is because now you have, when people watch this, they understand that there's the reality to it. You're using comedy to get people to actually watch it, so it doesn't. They don't walk out, Sometimes you watch these documentaries or movies and you're just like, ugh.
Well, people have said that, why don't you just do a documentary? And we thought, well, you know what? There's a certain kind of people that will watch a documentary, but the masses won't.
Right.
And we have to create a movie that they won't walk out, that they'll be entertained, that they can laugh, they can cry a little bit, but leave inspired, that they can make a difference. And our goal, it might be a hefty goal, is to do a movie a year, affordable movies.
Right.
And they're indie movies, so, with, SAG FICOR actors or non-SAG actors. We're trying to keep this affordable to continue to bring out a message, because as you know, any message, you can't just do it once.
Oh, no.
You have to continue to send out that message, and we go by the 3 Ps, which is we want to enforce prosecution, we want to work on protection of the victims, and prevention, because there are 40 million children and women right now in some form of human trafficking.
It's incredible. When you hear those numbers, I almost can't wrap my head around that. I mean, I know from what you're telling me, and I believe it, but it's just one of those things that to me it's so staggering to know. And as we said earlier, since I'm not Joe Rogan, I won't talk politics. However, I will say, in the past few years, with all the border and all the migrations and everything that we've been hearing in society, has that made it more difficult? This is more of a question. Has it made it more difficult? Is it increased the trafficking?
Well, 5, 6 years ago, when I would bring up what we were working on, the cause and getting help, there were people who really didn't even understand or know about human trafficking, or even believe it was going on, or even believe that there were criminals and terrorists and, fentanyl coming across the border. They didn't believe it.
Right.
But I think now, today, and I think Sound of Freedom was huge, opening up that trend. And a lot of authors now, a lot of books
Right.
touching on human trafficking. So, yes, the awareness is making it more, to bring more awareness and helping change. And yes, that change saves lives.
Right.
Because now we're looking for those kids. Now people
People are waking up.
they're waking up. I saw someone doing a video at the airport on Instagram, and I forgot what airport it was. I don't want to point anyone out. But so they had the microphone, and they saw a woman with a lot of children. And they looked like migrants,
Right, okay.
And they said, well, where are you taking these kids? And she said, it's none of your business. And they tried to talk to the kids, and I guess the kids all put their hoodies on and turned their backs to him. I guess they were instructed not to talk. And then a van pulls up, and he tries to talk to the driver. And the driver says, where are you taking these children? And the driver says, and who are you?
Right.
Like, why are you asking these questions? And it was really interesting that a lot of this is happening right under our noses,
Right.
and we don't even notice.
Right.
So now, awareness, people have their eyes open. And that saying, see something, say something.
It was just when you,
Yeah.
I literally it's the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like we just have to kind of put down our cell phone, especially when you're driving here in Miami. If you're driving, no, but I'm just saying, in general, put your phone down so you can see what's going on around you, including the hand signal. Wait, let me, this.
Yes.
Remember your hand signal,
Yes.
and then people see that when they're driving. And also, like you said, when you're, just in society, if you see something that seems, I'm not going to say out of place, where it doesn't really look like a school trip, is what's
Right.
going through my head, and you're like,
Right.
what's happening here?
Right.
Ask a question.
And if
Yeah.
a teacher sees a child that looks malnourished or has been absent a lot, or looks like they're a little beat up, ask questions.
Interesting, yeah.
Or
no,
a neighbor
yeah.
seeing something funny going on in a home next to them, say something.
Right, it's
So-
interesting, because growing up it was don't say anything, be quiet. Now we're telling everybody in society, hey, there's stuff going on around you and you can be part of the solution, and step up and say something.
Correct. There was an incident just maybe 6 months ago, and it was local. It was at a gas station during the day, and a mom was at a 7-Eleven. I think it's a 7-Eleven, I'm not sure. One of those convenience stores.
Right.
And they have this on video. And so she's walking out, and she's got like a toddler, maybe 4 or 5 years old, walking behind her. She's coming out of a convenience store, so you're not, not holding their hand, you're with them, you're walking out.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, somebody goes to grab that child. The average bystander would think it's an uncle, the child's been acting up, whatever, and think nothing of it.
Right.
But there were other bystanders that I have to call heroes that saw this going on, and they all pounced on the guy. And then the mother, I guess, heard the commotion and turned around. And these people saved her child's life.
Wow.
So, yes, it does make a difference, And this was all caught on video. So I'm sure you could,
Right. We could
Google
find
a
all-
convenience store, a child that got saved.
Well, it's interesting, when you were talking about creating the media and then the Sound of Freedom and that, I go back to the ever famous movie Taken, with Randy, right? With which obviously his daughter gets kidnapped and the whole thing, and by that is that
But
that
you could
movie.
see how a young girl could easily some handsome guy
Absolutely.
inviting her to a party,
Mhm.
in a new she has no friends, they have no friends in that country. Of course
Right.
they're gonna go.
Right.
I mean, I see that so typical.
Right. It's true, and that's why we have to become vigilant and say and see and say, and it's interesting, and that's why I think the more we educate ourselves, just the signs of it. I
And
think
the internet has been a huge marketplace for these traffickers because the internet has made them, it made it easier for them to, and I guess, Florida is now making it illegal for children under 14 to be on social media. And I have to say, with the knowledge I have,
right.
I agree with that 100%. They don't have the knowledge to be able to seek out this. Oh, this is a scammer. Or this
Right.
is with AI,
Oh, now forget about it.
they can sound like someone else. They can look like
It's not
someone
even
else.
fair. Yeah, you've got
Yes. There's no way a kid could, figure it out.
no, and it'll play on certain. I mean, that's what's very dangerous. So
Right.
you're
They
absolutely
prey on those runaway kids there. And there's different forms of human trafficking. There's
Right.
sex, and there's labor, and there's organs.
hmm
So, it's danger out there, and we need to let our kids know. We need to keep our children safe.
all about that money. How much? I mean, you said
$200 billion
billion. When you
industry.
think about that for a minute,
This is what we're fighting
that
against.
is massive. That is a massive industry to be going on under our noses and
Right.
globally, and that's why I commend you for being able to tell the story in a way that people will, that's palatable, because we're all so busy every day, and it's like there's so much noise out there. And when I say noise, I mean just between all the social medias and all the different things. It's like, how do you get a message out there? And it has to be
With people like you.
well. Hey, it's.
I mean, thank you for what you do, because podcasts now are a way to really look.
Yeah.
We saw how it got involved in an election, but podcast is a great way to get information out.
Well, I'm so
So I
glad you
hope
say
this
that.
podcast brings us lots of people who want to be involved and part of our movement.
I love that I have the ability to sit behind a mic with amazing people and just get them. That's where I'll take credit. Where
You're making a
from Joe
difference.
is being able to being able to just ask questions that I think are interesting from the perspective, and I feel that if people, they gravitate, and they, like you said, the podcast is so different than the narrative that's been told by hundreds of people controlling media and all these media agencies, and everybody wants to control the narrative. We know this as filmmakers and directors, it's our narrative. But when it comes to information, and it wants to be free, and you can get somebody, you could sit down with them for an hour, half hour, 3 hours, you really get to know where they're coming from. And I think that's where the future of, we call podcasts. I one day, it's really the future of what talk shows are going to become. It's the future of, I'm being in this space. I'll share something with you that I find interesting is, for years, nobody thought anybody would watch hours of conversation with people. And what's so fascinating is that was the traditional thought of the industry, the entertainment industry, and they couldn't have been more wrong, because they're like, oh, Americans, give them the sound bites, give them the snippets, give them a little like candy. And now everybody's like, no, we're mentally curious. We want knowledge.
Well, people don't want to watch your typical TV anymore.
Right.
So they have turned to podcasts.
Yeah.
And now people are understanding that, yes, it's shifted the way people get their information.
Right. No, and it's so true. I thank you for, again, the podcast is only as good as the guest I have or the person who's on here. So otherwise it would be me just standing up doing a monologue, and I promise nobody wants to do that. So what am I missing? We've already chatted for a while.
I do want to say
yes.
I'm grateful to our Miami community for just standing up and saying, we don't want this in our city.
That's great.
And
Tell me more about that.
Fighting back.
Tell me about that.
I think Miami has said, we don't want this in our city. What can we do to help you? What can we do? In every activation, every theater showing, any film festival, people have said, how can we help? So I just want to say thank you so much.
In all aspects of trafficking, you're talking about the whole Miami community.
People don't want it.
Yeah.
They want their children safe. They want their kids to be able to play and ride their bike on the street, and they want to feel safe where they go, and it's changing.
I think it's.
So,
I wish nothing more than that, and
so thank you for our community. Thank you for
to
people
Miami.
like you.
Wow.
Who want to spread the word and say no more.
Well, this is very interesting. I'm taking a hard right turn.
Okay.
I was just in Japan a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I've been working on a show over there, and I was there for a few months. And what's so bizarre to me is you walk out your door, and for Japan, people think small apartments and everything. There's a culture shift, which I don't know if anybody's ever said it. I'm saying it the first time. Who knows? In Japan, you live in your apartment, but your living room is kind of everywhere outside. In America, we have our bedroom, and then we go to our living room, and then when we go outside, it's the big bad outside, and it's us versus everybody in our cars. And the reason I say, whether that's explicit or what I felt after being there many times and many travels, what I've watched is you have 5-6-year-olds walking out their front door, walking across the street, going to school, living in a community. And this is the middle of Tokyo. We're talking 30 plus million approximate. And
they're very tough on crime there. And you don't want to be stuck in a jail in Japan.
No, but that says something, right? It says we are society that's safe.
Crime.
We're society that's so safe that your 5-year-old or 7-year-old can walk to the store, be free. Where here, just like you said, it goes on under our noses all the time, and you're going, which society? Like I'm hoping, going to what you said, we're moving to that type of society where, like, okay, enough is enough with all the crime, and obviously the biggest crime is this. So I think I love hearing that about Miami, that you're getting that wonderful, warm reception.
Miami wants to change, and being in real estate, affordability is an issue. So more families are living together now. You are getting the grandmas or the in-laws and the parents and the kids still living at home.
Well, it's so expensive here. It's
correct. And then, of course, like you said, what about the outdoor areas? So we have a lot of new parks coming in. We have that huge underline park. We have a highline park that, is coming. So Miami is going through that shift of change. And if we can, make this one of the safest cities to live in, we've won. We've won the game.
I will say this. I did a podcast that I don't know if it'll be out or not by the time it gets here. And it's two gentlemen who essentially started all the club scene in Miami since the 70s. And they have all this. It's a fascinating podcast that I'll be dropping. But the reason I say this is we're talking about Miami because they've been here.
Seen
it all. And we were unfortunately bringing up the statistic that Miami's the rudest city in America. And I think that it's changing. I do, because I feel that, like you just said, there is so much investment in it, and so many people want to be here that it's going to bounce to or go to a different angle. So I love the positive aspect, because I moved here 20 plus years ago after 9/11. I was in New York, and I said I want to be in just the beautiful area, and then I've traveled through all South Florida, and I want to see Miami just get that.
Well, from the real estate perspective, you won't recognize Miami in the next 5 years. There is so much construction, so much money going into the Brickell area, into Coral Gables, into downtown Miami, into North Miami. I mean, huge $1 billion+ projects that are already in for plans for permitting with new shops, new diverse, where you have retail and commercial and residential all together, denser communities, and it's really changing. You will have a new Miami, and you have to remember, Miami gets compared with Paris, New York, London. These are old cities that have been around a long time.
Right.
Miami's a baby city. We're a young city. We still have so much more growth to go. So the investment potential in Miami is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So from the real estate perspective, I say invest now in Miami, and 5-10 years from now, you won't regret it.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen it being down here 20 years myself of South Florida and Miami, and I mean, here we're sitting in Miami, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You think it's expensive now?
Oh, just wait, no, right?
Right. This is actually.
Yeah, exactly.
This is actually the time to buy.
Being so versed in real estate and knowing what's going on in Miami, is that one of the reasons you said, "Hey, I want to make this movie and the future here in Miami"?
Of course, I want my city safe, but this is not just this is a worldwide problem. This is a global problem, and the traffickers are taking advantage of the wars, the chaos in other countries, and they're right there picking up people. What was going on in the Ukraine was going on, and they had buses. I don't know if you remember the big yellow buses and different buses picking up women and children to get them out of harm. Okay, yes, there were a lot of good buses, but there were also a lot of harmful buses. So our movie actually has a scene of, what happened in that situation. So yes, in other countries, it's not just here, it's a global problem. So it's a problem we need to globally make a difference. But if we can just start here, make Miami safe, we'll be the example.
Somebody's got. You're already on the way. I mean, clearly. Tell me. So obviously, everybody can find sistersofvengeance.com and reach out. I see the phone, email, Facebook. So clearly, easy to contact you all.
Yes. And email us. It's very easy. It's all on the website.
And you're so right now, the next thing for making the feature is you're kind of in the
we're
casting, production, that type of stage.
Correct. And our goal is to get it back out to the film festivals. And I have to say, I really think the film festivals are doing a great job, because it's giving indie filmmakers a source where people can go see movies that you probably normally never get to see. So yes, I love film festivals, and I think they're doing their part in showing all kinds of movies and having that outlet for filmmakers, because the big studios don't always cooperate.
I was going to say that goes right into the movie, the Freedom that we were talking about. It's interesting that it just never really got marketed, and which kind of makes,
until they ended up with Angel Studios and the right outlet.
Absolutely.
And there's a huge shift going on from Hollywood that it's demand, supply and demand.
Absolutely.
And there's more of a demand of indie filmmakers now, and you saw what happened with Blockbuster and Netflix, and so it's happening in Hollywood. I
couldn't agree more.
Inevitable.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think there's a culture. I mean, everything goes through a transition, right? And like you just said, it's if I said, "Hey, let's go open up a music store," you'd look at me like, "Huh?" I mean, unless you're doing cool millennial retro-y thing, but that's a mom and pop shop. You're not gonna. And now what's happening is you're gonna have all these streaming services, because there are a lot more, and where they need content,
right?
And
the internet has changed the way consumers get their information.
100%, and the big, I think we as two, I can now call you an independent filmmaker, a successful independent filmmaker. Congrats, actress. It is. It's facts. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think that's what's fascinating is you found a passion, and you found an incredible cause, and you're telling the story, and I don't think there's anything better than that.
Well, we have a great team of actors, a great community. and that's what's made it all work. So very fortunate.
Patricia,
And thank you. Thank you,
my
Victor.
pleasure. I hope to be around more, and you guys will stay tuned. Maybe we'll be behind the scenes, and we'll be able to show more. But
yes.
But I want to thank you for taking all this time, and I'm sorry for bombarding you with a million questions.
It's okay.
But it was fabulous. I'm sure everybody got something great from this. And again, I will close by saying, please go to the website, check out all of the ways that you could be involved, from just as a viewer to all the way to putting your
follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Sisters of Vengeance. We want you.
Yes, and I'm letting that I didn't bring up all the key points of the plot and all that because I want them to go watch it.
Good.
There we go. Patricia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you again soon.